Anthony Fantano gets caught again?
No,
he did not get caught again. So recently there was some videos that surfaced, and obviously he's a music critic, and his channel's I believe it's called The Needle Drop, if I'm not mistaken. A couple videos surfaced where he was saying N-word and talking about Trayvon Martin, and he ended up having to defend himself via video on Twitter. So the video, he basically broke down how he has been through this before. It was taken out of context. You know, it wasn't used properly.
Yeah, so I don't know if you watched the video, but essentially
I watched some of it.
It's like what it was Akademiks. The interesting thing is, was Akademiks who shared all this.
Yes.
Which, he's the guy that was
and Drake, dude.
And Drake.
Yeah, he's a cornball.
He's the guy that was grooming that 15-year-old boy. Remember that? Anyways, the videos they pulled from were over close to a decade old. Anthony has already addressed it multiple times. But also they were also taken out of context a little bit, because it wasn't like Anthony Fantano just dropping random slurs. He was actually quoting something, and then so that's part of his video. He's like, well, I realized that I probably shouldn't do that, so I stopped doing it. And that's kind of what his thing was. The Trayvon Martin thing, they said that he laughed at Trayvon Martin joke. Yeah. It wasn't. It was essentially the guy who he laughed at was trying to say somebody else's name, and he ended up saying Trayvon Martin. Mm-hmm. And he laughed at the fact that
this guy didn't say it.
He didn't say it right.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
Their names sound black or something.
No.
I heard that clip. There's something about, I don't know if it was specific to Trayvon Martin.
Right.
But he was trying to say somebody's name or something, and somebody said, well, the name sounds black. I have a hard time saying black names, whatever. Blah,
Something
blah,
like
blah.
that.
I've actually had an experience with somebody telling a story using words that necessarily they don't have to be used for the context. I get the context. And they defended themselves for wanting to say the word just because they were telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now,
was this person a white? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, fool.
White.
I always want to make sure we know what we're talking about.
Baby.
Make sure we know what we're talking about here.
Yeah. So once I confronted this person about that situation, and I was calm about it. It was like, yeah, can you just tell the story and reframe? Mm-hmm. Pretty much schooling them on how you can tell the story without saying that particular word. He puffed out his chest like, I'm just telling the story. Like, what I'm saying don't matter. Yeah. So that pissed me off.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, in this particular situation with Anthony Fantano, I don't agree with him saying it. Mm-hmm. Context, regardless of what you're telling story-wise, blah, 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 you don't necessarily have to say certain words or phrases for someone to get the context. Yeah, this doesn't surprise me coming from him, honestly. But will I go as far as to say that this was racist, or this is a situation that is a 4-alarm or 3-alarm, whatever you want to call it, fire? I don't think it's that either. I think this is ignorance that's been educated.
Is this fair when people tend to, jump out the window one way or another as it relates to someone's comments, depending on obviously the context or how it's taken?
I think I don't know, one of the main issues in general, just with the way people consume things, is that they don't get a lot of context before they start forming opinions on stuff. And I'm not saying necessarily even in this instance or whatever, but what Terry said was great. It seems like it was ignorance that was kind of it became educated or corrected over time. That's what I kind of gathered from it. And I watched his video. There is something, and I'm sure you guys have all seen it, but Lone, I know that you and I have talked about this before too, though. I don't know how old, I think Anthony's probably our age.
Yeah, he's about our age.
Right. So this was 10 years ago. Let's say he was in his late 20s, early 30s. There's like this group of white people, it's usually males, that go through some like weird phase, and sometimes it happens in like high school, and sometimes it's in college, and sometimes it seems over the last like 10, 12, 15 years it comes later for some people, that like dancing around that word is like funny to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was never in that group. I don't remember really,
Same.
I never thought it was funny. And And I'm not gonna lie, when I was like maybe in high school or middle school, if I ever like rapped it or said it in a song, I got, somebody said something to me about, and I never, at 12 or 13, you don't really get it. But as you learn, you're like, oh my God, like, yeah, I never called my friends that or anything, but so I'm not like exempt from all that, but you learn, but I don't understand that, why that is that way here in this country. Maybe it's the same in other countries where you just dance, you want to dance around these taboo subjects because you think it's funny or you think it's cool. And like, when are we going to just get past that? You know what I mean? And I don't mean like get over people saying the N-word. No, don't ever get past that. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? But when is there ever going to be a time where these like this group of kids or people or whatever stops like just don't say it?
It's not hard. It's not hard.
It's
not hard.
I'm just kind of like, because I remember I was watching Sarah and I we've been watching old movies, and we watched, you guys remember Can't Hardly Wait?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that movie about like that high school party? And there's these group, and that's probably 99, 2000, something like that.
Yeah, Seth Green.
Yeah, 25 years ago, right? And there's a part where there's these two white kids who are clearly trying to play stereotypical black characters, right? Black dudes walk into the party and they try to walk up to him and say, "What's up, my," and they get chased out of the party or whatever. Like, that was 25 years ago. Like, haven't we picked up on some of this, like,
well, no,
by now? And obviously the answer is no, as we're, but I don't know a lot about Anthony Fantano. I know that I've listened to a couple of his reviews. He seems to be a sharp guy.
He's very sharp.
But I would think, what Terry said, I thought, just to sum it up, it seemed just like he was an ignorant, he was a moron and realized he was a moron and doesn't do it anymore.
Well, to take kind of a different look at this, there's a lot of gotchaism when someone becomes a voice.
Sure.
Because like I said, these are things that he's already addressed. And, if somebody like Akademiks, maybe he's not super aware of Anthony Fantano, but he sees the numbers and is like, oh, well, I got to expose this guy. Because that seems like the kind of jerk that DJ Akademiks is, and so like, I'm not sure if that was the motivation. Maybe he's just now hearing about this stuff because, like I said, people like Akademiks live in a bubble and don't realize that someone has already made amends or at least tried to address these things and say that he was wrong. So I think that's partially, but also I think Spool speaks to something that is very prevalent. When, you say, especially young males, when it's this whole thing where they like to dance around language that they know is inappropriate. And someone's, just like you say, well, when can we get over this? Never, because it's hard to tell white people about something that they can't do that black people can do. And saying the N-word, like I said, Patrice O'Neal, one of my favorite comedians ever, if not my favorite. Legend. He said something that was so brilliant. He's like, for all the things that black people have to go through in this country, the things that we know we don't get the benefit of the doubt of, at least we have language. There are things, and really only one thing that we can say that a white person, like a white person who's a political candidate, somebody who has everything, all the advantages given to them, that's something they can't say. Now, I remember one time there was this one person on The View. I think she was married to a football player, Hasselbeck. Like, she started crying about something that had to do with the N-word. And I'd be like, you know what? This isn't about you being so upset about language, but here it is. This is about your white privilege and you being upset that there's something black people can do and make $1 million doing. That if you did the exact same thing, you would be fired and you would never be able to be hired anywhere else. But Kevin Hart can get on television and say the N-word 50 times and we'll just laugh and be like, oh, that was such a funny joke. Or a rapper can say it at a concert and, there'd be millions of dollars and do the Super Bowl. And, but I guarantee you, as a white person, if you would not trade being able to say the N-word for all the other things that come with being white in this country. So you should just shut the up.
Yeah, man. No, it happens the same thing, the phenomenon with the white kids in these like pockets of time that it's not like they'll dance around stuff about Jewish people. They'll dance around stuff about people of Latin or Hispanic background.
Sure.
It's weird, man.
It's not just that, yeah.
You saw that when was the Unite the Right rally? 2016 or 2015, something like that.
Yeah, whenever the tiki torches.
Yeah, they were chanting, and if you looked at it, that was the biggest. Like,
they're good
Brad,
people.
you're naive. Like, you know what I mean? We had 80 years of Obama. I was, like there's things Obama did I didn't like, but at the end of the day, I was like, like I didn't have to worry about my president tweeting things to people that are unnecessary or picking dumb fights with people. Like, I loved Obama, but to see young white kids marching with tiki, young white kids, these aren't our parents' age, these are people younger than I was, marching with tiki torches, saying Jews will not replace us. Like,
where does that come from?
Yeah, man, that's the part to me that is wild. I don't know. And also, man, like when you say shit on the internet, like too bad, you put it out there. You know what I mean? Like you get to. I was on a podcast for a few years, and I knew there were people who said things about me that I really didn't like in some of those comments that I saw before. I chose to get on the internet and say my opinion.
That part.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you had the whole thing, the kid that went on the Breakfast Club,
Neon.
Yeah, and like I said,
that kid's a dipshit too, man. Like,
I wasn't particularly aware of him before that even happened because, like, why would I be aware of that just because of the
we talked about him?
Yeah,
which is funny.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you know what? Yes, you're probably going to have to answer for this for the rest of your life because nothing dies on the internet. Once it's on the internet, even if you say you didn't mean it, it's just the same thing when, you can say something crazy or a newspaper could print something that's not true and they'll print the retraction on page 35. But if you print something incorrect or slanderous, libelous, whichever one is print, I sometimes forget, then that's what people are going to remember. They're not going to remember your retraction, and you're going to have to continue to answer for this. And this is where we are in this age of new media, and things just don't go away. There's probably going to be somebody, I don't know if I probably said some wild shit here, nothing too crazy, but
I don't know.
But there's going to be something, but once again, I've also talked about how, I'm not married to my opinions. Okay, once new information is introduced and I become more learned and figure out things in the world don't revolve completely around me, then I can change my point of view.
Yeah, but Jay, what you just mentioned there is the retraction, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody cares about that. They just care about what you say.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and so like that's what, and look, Anthony Fantano is probably he's going to deal with this for the rest of his life, just like Neon's going to deal whatever it is for the rest of his life, because that's what happens with the internet. There's always going to be somebody to discover when your stupidest point,
or when you were a piece of shit. I mean, at the end of the day, this isn't a situation to where I actually think that he's racist.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he's racist.
There's different levels and conversations and realizations with certain people that you can kind of tell and gauge their character. Now, you wanting to be popular and things like that on the internet, and you're reading things as somebody in court would read it. Like we've all seen something that happened in court. They're going through reading exactly what was said, and of course, nothing is ever said about that. He's pretty much doing the same thing, but being playful about it is different. This is the only thing I don't like about being caught red-handed and then apologizing. Before it even comes out, you be like, okay, I did some shit in my past that some of y'all may not be aware that I've done, but I'm going to bring it to light because that's where I'm at now. And I want to address it, and I want to put it pretty much dead it right now because that's not me. That's not what it represented.
Accountability.
Sure. That type of thing I appreciate if somebody were to do it, but it never happens like that.
No.
Yeah.
It's always when something surfaces, then we have the apology rallies that happen.
The only person I remember doing that was Liam Neeson, dude.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was
what
crazy.
He thought once it was
random.
I was like, damn.
Because at first I was like, damn, I wouldn't have said all that.
No, right.
But that's what everybody asks for. You know, realistically,
Yeah.
The thing with Anthony Fantano though is he was using it in a way that he didn't realize at the time was culturally insensitive.
Right.
He was using it in a particular type of way. He was quoting something. He wasn't out just saying something. He even said that he talked about editing the title. Like editing the title from like a YouTube video that he had. He's like, I didn't even, it was like 3 years ago that I just edited this, had the N-word in it or whatever. And, it's like this fuzzy nature. I remember back blogging too. What do I title something that I'm posting when it's like ends in Paris?
Yeah.
It's coming from me.
Yeah.
But the name of the title is this.
I know sometimes people lean on journalistic integrity and
no, for sure. And that's
look, I just remember
if I could interject though, in the past time, that's what I leaned on. I was like, well, this is what it is supposed to be.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to titled it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
That's the reason why I differentiate.
But it doesn't mean at the same time that I'm not thinking like, well, should I be doing that?
Yeah.
I feel a little weird posting this, like
it's your conscience. Like you're thinking about it.
There's no like rubric.
Yeah,
but there's not a laughing matter. It's not a joke.
Well, no.
You know what I'm saying? When you kind of make it a joke and it's funny, I typed that. That's why I brought up the whole situation with court. So in court, they have to read lyrics sometime. Obviously, Drake has a case going on.
Yeah.
The lyrics are being read by people that are not black.
Sure.
Right? And they have to say these things in court. I'm sure people in court aren't chuckling when they read these lyrics.
That part.
So if you're reading it live and you're chuckling and it's funny to you, that makes it offensive. That doesn't seem like you're reading it or saying it.
I would even
in context.
But Sarah, I would go a step further. Like I don't think laughing has anything to do with it. As a white person, you just don't say it.
That too.
I think both.
That's the underlying point that you probably just shouldn't say it. Period.
Yeah, like
but
especially on
when
camera.
you make it a joke, if it ends up being funny to you, like the whole even the other stuff didn't bother me when they talked about Trayvon and that was funny. That doesn't sit right with me because George Zimmerman is still alive for as many black on black crimes or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody took his ass out.
Buddy walking around.
There's some people that ain't on your job because y'all doing other shit. But that's neither here nor there.
I mean, I
agree with Terry.
I'm just gonna again, I'm the white person saying this, right? But how many times do I have to apologize? And if that is a bazillion times, then that's what the answer is, right?
Also, as a white person, you could say, "I'm not apologizing anymore for this." You can.
You can.
You can say that if you want to.
The irony of all this shit is that Akademiks was the one who put this out there, apparently. He's also on we just talked about G Herbo last week.
Yeah.
He's on a conversation with Vlad saying, I've already apologized for this all this time. I'm not going to apologize anymore.
I didn't know he'd apologize.
I'm just saying.
Because I don't care anything about academics like that.
But I'm just saying, like, that's the irony in this kind of situation anyways. But I want to circle back around to something that Brad said about where white people come from when they say the things that they say.
Yes.
And where it comes from. And the whole censorship piece, because I think that's important. Like, I think there is something to do with, there is a level of white angst that exists in general in young white men.
Yes, there is. It's wild. I don't get it. I don't.
But I think
it didn't touch me.
I've been thinking about this recently because I was actually going to make a video about this, and I have that was going to go deeper on this, and maybe I'll talk about it deeper in some other thing too as well. But I think part of it comes down to definitely the root of it is being able to not say something. Like, I can't say this word. But I think another part of it is the fact that it's just a word. And what I mean by that is just because I don't say the word doesn't mean that it's not replaying in my head. And so regardless if I say the thing out loud, you can't police what's in my head. So therefore, why does it matter?
Well, I mean, there's always been that. There are people who don't think they're racist because they've never burned a cross or said or called someone the N-word on the street. But the way you live your life, the way you, but depending on what your job title is and how you disseminate information and how you live how you live your life. Maybe more racist than anybody who's ever burned a cross or just called someone the N-word or tried to stop someone from walking into a school.
Absolutely.
And I think, when we talk about language, that's kind of the nuance that is lost, is because we think that a lot of times bad feelings and racism or homophobia or anti-Semitism is boiled just down to language.
Right.
There's probably people who, have the worst feelings about Jewish people, but they said, oh, well, I've never, worked in a concentration camp or this, that, and that's their justification for not being anti-Semitic. But they know how they feel internally about the Jewish person that works in their office.
Absolutely.
I think it boils down to just being, it's a respect thing at the end of the day.
That was going to be my thesis of the video I was going to make.
It's a respect
It's all
thing.
about respect.
Yes. So if you're in a position to where, okay, technically anybody can say it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anybody can say whatever the want to say.
True.
But you being in a position to where I respect where somebody came from and what they went through and what this meant at one point in time and what it still means to some people that say it, I respect that. So even though if I'm thinking it, there's not even just black words that are
things
pretty much erased.
Pop in our mind.
You know what I'm saying?
We don't have control over it. Yeah.
It's going to come up in your mind. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to vocally expand or say it.
Absolutely.
Whether in public or in private.
Out of respect.
Right. Because, I mean, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's just respect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, oh man, I'm thinking of this slur to call this person something.
Yeah,
it just means that the word will pop in there if somebody mentions it, or if I think it, or if I hear it in a song. And I think what I was saying with that is that I think that goes down to kind of the root of some of this issue with white people sometimes, and the privilege around it that's inherently there.
Because a lot of them lean on, I'm going to say this because I know it's going to push this button.
Yeah.
My thing with me, honestly, is if I encounter somebody that I know is saying it in ill intent, you saying it by itself really doesn't bother me. It's more so you thought it was going to bother me because you wanted to get a rise out of me.
Yeah, or some reaction of some
That's
sort.
more so what causes me to go down the path of, okay, so do I react in this way? Or do I react in a way that you don't even really expect because you lean on saying things that are going to get people pissed off because these are action words to you that you've been programmed to say, well, anytime I feel like my back's against the wall, I know I can say this and offend somebody.
And to Terry's point, I can relate because I've been in plenty of situations where I know it's I'm poking you situation. Growing up where we grew up, Lone Nose, growing up with the dynamics and things of that nature, playing ball in some of these back road countries, country towns where I used to hoop at when I was 6th, 7th grade. I heard a lot of stuff. Heard it from the refs, coaches, parents.
So, I mean, our elementary school is in the country.
Come on. So I've been there. Like, we came up in sports through that.
Yeah. So
to Terry's point, it's like, I know where you're coming from, but it's up to me to decide how I want to either react or, just pull back.
Yeah, and you guys bring up a good point in general about just, I don't know, like general race relations and kind of where we're at right now. I guess speaking to fellow whites or whatever. like
whites.
That's 100. That's 100 comment.
Black people aren't a monolith.
I say that all the time.
They don't. the way that one person might react to something, a black person is different than, you know what I mean? Like, it's just always like.
I think the problem, Brad,
and one black person doesn't represent all black people.
Come on,
like, that's to me, that's pretty basic. You know.
Oh man.
And then that kind of, from there can kind of grow the, just.
You having
next
a black friend doesn't exclude you from things.
Correct.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
I've had black friends of mine ask me or say in so many words, you could probably get away with saying it if you wanted to because you're around us so much. And I was just like, it's not
something I want to do.
Not for me. I don't like the word, the way, my understanding. A lot of this too, comes from.
I used to get teased by black people to say it.
Yeah.
He's not lying. I was there. Yeah, he's not lying.
Cool.
Also, I've been called it by black people before too.
I used to get called clear. I never understood what the that meant.
Clear. That's funny.
Hey, but Lone never, to Lone's point.
He's white as hell. That's what,
I guess.
Yeah, but and it's there's such a dynamic too, because I've seen people just repost like a meme that has the N-word in it, but the person was white, and I feel some kind of way about it.
It's like their little. I swear, dude. And it's not like their little like.
I don't even think there's. I don't
it
think
really is. I'm telling you.
I don't think there's
a white. I'm telling you this is how they think.
But even but I would know the person. I know there's no ill intent there. It's like sometimes they just they're comfortable because they're around us a lot. You know. But also, I'm one of those people. I think I've talked about this on the show. How like. I don't use the N-word around black people I don't know. So I certainly don't use it around white people. I don't use it on the show. I don't use it when I'm on stage.
That part.
And there was one time I said it on the show because I thought the joke was that funny. But, other than that, like, I've gone 300 something shows.
Yeah, I don't either.
We don't use it.
I don't participate.
We don't use it. Yeah, that's facts.
And so I don't know, man. Language is just so crazy. The intent is crazy. What we're talking about is almost this eternal conversation. I wish we didn't have to have all the time.
I agree.
And I know we were supposed to be talking about Anthony Fantano, but we kind of got into something larger.
Well, I was going to ask.
But that's the point of the conversation, you know.
I was going to ask.
Because in my opinion, Anthony apologized. And granted, I'm the white person here, right? So it's not necessarily my place. But like, he can't really do anything else except for apologize and keep it moving.
He can't.
And, you know.
When I heard it, when you hear it from certain people, I'd say 85%, 90% of the people that get called out for something like this, I'm like, yeah, I fucking knew it, dude. You know what I mean? Like, of course he did.
I'm saying.
You know?
I wasn't
but
surprised.
with him, I was like, you know.
It's kind of
Yeah, okay. Like, I don't.
I would have felt
like I didn't hear it and was like, I knew he was racist. Like, I heard it and was like, I bet he was a dumb
I didn't think he
idiot.
was racist.
That's exactly what I heard.
I didn't. Like I said, I didn't think he was racist.
Oh, I know you didn't. I'm just saying,
But
like, when people read that, that's the reaction that Akademiks is trying to get out of people. He's racist. Don't listen to him.
Yeah, he's a
You know what I mean?
cornball.
He sucks, dude. I'm sorry. I don't miss any of that shit, dude.
It just made me lean more onto the fact that I feel like he can't hear Jimmy the same way I hear Jimmy.
Well, I was going to ask. I had a follow-up set, but
you just listen to. I hear Jimmy.